Hey there, everyone! Welcome back to our Bible verse vlog series. Today, we're diving into the book of Psalms, chapter 40, verses 1 to 17. Let's explore this beautiful passage together. The chapter begins with the psalmist expressing his gratitude for God's mercy and steadfast love. He acknowledges that God has given him a new heart and renewed his spirit, and he is determined to follow God's teachings. Psalm 40, particularly verses 1 to 17 in the King James Version KJV, expresses a journey of faith, encompassing praise for God's deliverance, a dedication to his service, and a plea for ongoing help. 1. Praise for deliverance and God's faithfulness verses 1 to 5, waiting on the Lord. The psalm begins with David's declaration of patiently waiting for the Lord's help and how God responded by hearing his cry and rescuing him from a horrible pit in Miriclay. God's actions of rescue and establishment. This section highlights God's acts of saving David from distress and establishing him securely, placing his feet upon a rock and establishing his goings. New song and praise. David emphasizes the transformative power of God's intervention, resulting in a new song of praise. God's wondrous works and thoughts. David acknowledges the multitude of God's wonderful works and his thoughts towards his people, recognizing their immeasurable nature. 2. Dedication to God's will verses 6 to 10, obedience over sacrifice. This section highlights God's desire for obedience and a willing heart rather than mere ritualistic sacrifices. Open ears and delight in God's will. David expresses a commitment to listen to and obey God, delighting in his will and keeping his law within his heart. Proclaiming God's righteousness. David affirms his dedication to publicly declare God's righteousness, faithfulness, and salvation without reservation. 3. Plea for continued help and deliverance verses 11 to 17, acknowledging sin and need for mercy. David acknowledges his sins and the overwhelming nature of his troubles, requesting God's continued mercy and preservation. Request for deliverance and shame upon enemies. David prays for deliverance from his enemies and asks for shame and confusion to come upon those who seek to harm him. Joy for the righteous and magnification of the Lord. David desires that those who seek and love God rejoice and continually proclaim, "The Lord be magnified." Humility and dependence on God. Recognizing his poor and needy state, David reaffirms his trust in God as his help and deliverer, requesting that God not delay in coming to his aid. In essence, Psalm 40 KJV expresses David's deep faith in God's power to save, his commitment to serving God through obedience and proclamation, and his ongoing reliance on God's mercy and help in times of trouble. Thank you for joining us in this journey through the Bible. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content. Until next time, stay blessed.